The ancients called it the skull-shining breath, not for the lungs, for the face. What they understood, and what modern physiology is only now confirming, is that the face has its own internal circulation system, a lymphatic network, a capillary architecture, a collagen synthesis trigger, and all of it responds to breath. You've been told facial aging is about genetics, about gravity, about time running out. It is not. It is about flow, and flow can be restored. In the next 7 minutes, you are going to activate 4 biological mechanisms that your face has been waiting for. We begin now. Mechanism bridge. Here is what Kapalabhati does that no skincare product can replicate. The diaphragm is a pump. Every sharp, rhythmic contraction drives pressure through the thoracic duct, the body's primary lymphatic channel. That pressure wave travels upward. It reaches the face. It clears the subcutaneous congestion that accumulates in the soft tissue beneath your skin, waste metabolites, inflammatory cytokines, retained fluid. The puffiness you see in the mirror is largely this: stagnant lymph. Kapalabhati moves it. Think of it as wringing out a wet cloth. The face is the cloth. The breath is the hand doing the wringing. Then something more precise happens. The forced exhalation, the rapid nasal airflow, agitates the paranasal sinuses. And those sinuses are not passive chambers. They are nitric oxide factories. A 1995 landmark study confirmed that human paranasal sinus epithelium constitutively generates nitric oxide in concentrations far exceeding any other tissue in the body. That nitric oxide floods into the facial capillaries. Vasodilation follows. Microcirculation opens. Here is the 7-minute sequence. Practice setup. Sit now, spine erect, hands resting on your knees, palms down, chin slightly tucked. Close your mouth. You may feel warmth in the face within 60 seconds. You may feel a mild tingling across the cheekbones, or a sensation of pressure releasing beneath the eyes. These are not side effects. These are signals that the mechanism is active. Allow them. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the foundational text of Hatha lineage, written in the 15th century, describes Kapalabhati as a practice that purifies not just the lungs, but the structures of the head. That is precisely what you are about to experience. The 7-minute protocol. Phase 1, activation. 2 minutes, 60 pumps per minute. Begin. Short, sharp exhale through the nose. Let the inhale be passive. It arrives on its own. You are not pulling air in, you are pushing it out. 1 pump per second. Feel the belly contract. Feel the diaphragm rise. Now notice what is happening above the clavicle. The rhythmic pressure pulse from the diaphragm is propagating upward through the thoracic duct. Lymph is beginning to move. The subcutaneous stagnation in the face, accumulated over hours of gravity, inflammation, and minimal movement, is being mechanically displaced. The tissue is draining. Your face is becoming less dense, less congested. This is mechanism 1. Continue pumping. Keep the rhythm even. 2 minutes. Rest. 3 breaths. Phase 2. Nitric oxide surge. 2 minutes. 4-4-6 nasal breathing. Shift now. Slow nasal inhale for 4 counts. Hold. 4 counts. Slow exhale. 6 counts. During the hold, the paranasal sinuses are pressurizing. The nasal airflow has already disturbed them. Now, in stillness, they release their nitric oxide payload. That gas diffuses into the capillary endothelium of the face. The vessels dilate. Blood reaches dermal layers it could not reach a minute ago. A 2005 study demonstrated that when nitric oxide contacts human dermal fibroblasts, it directly upregulates pro-collagen mRNA,
and accelerates type 1 collagen synthesis. This is not cosmetic signaling. This is structural biological repair. Feel the warmth. Notice it across the cheekbones. The capillary field is opening. Continue for 2 minutes. Rest. 3 breaths.
Phase 3, cellular reset. 3 minutes, 80 pumps per minute. Return to Kapalabhati, faster now, 80 pumps per minute. As CO2 rises slightly in the blood during rapid breathing, the Bohr effect activates. Hemoglobin releases oxygen more readily to the tissues that need it most, including the dermis. Cellular turnover accelerates. The skin cells at the face's surface receive a biochemical signal to regenerate faster. Feel the heat now, not warmth, heat. The micromuscles of the face are firing with every pump. The zygomaticus, the orbicularis oculi, the buccinator. Rhythmic activation, cumulative toning. 3 minutes. Do not stop. Now, stop. Sit completely still. Observe your face from the inside. Notice what has changed. Post-practice mechanism, deep dive. What just happened inside your face? Let's account for it precisely. The CO2 regulation during phase 3, the slight hypercapnia from accelerated pumping, triggered the Bohr effect. In plain terms, your red blood cells shifted their oxygen release behavior. They became more efficient at delivering oxygen specifically to tissues with high metabolic demand. The dermis, chronically underperfused in sedentary men, particularly after 45, is exactly that tissue. Cellular turnover in the skin requires oxygen. Collagen precursor synthesis requires oxygen. You just delivered it in a targeted, physiologically induced surge. This is mechanism 3. Mechanism 4 is structural and cumulative. Every pump of Kapalabhati recruits the facial musculature through a process of microcontraction that no voluntary exercise reaches. The zygomaticus major, the muscle that defines the mid-face contour. The orbicularis oculi, the ring muscle around the eye that determines whether the eye looks alert or hollowed. The buccinator, the deep lateral facial muscle that shapes the cheek architecture. These muscles do not respond to passive skin care. They respond to rhythmic neurological activation, which is exactly what you delivered across 7 minutes. A 2016 randomized controlled trial demonstrated that a single session of yogic breathing produced a statistically significant reduction in salivary interleukin-1 beta, interleukin-8, and MCP-1, 3 primary markers of chronic low-grade inflammation. In the face, this inflammatory environment is the baseline condition for men past 45. It accelerates collagen degradation. It thickens subcutaneous tissue. It dulls microcirculation. One session of yogic breathing measurably disrupts it. Now consider 21 days of daily practice. The lymphatic clearing becomes habitual. The nitric oxide output from the sinuses normalizes at a higher baseline. The dermal capillaries retain greater tone. The facial musculature builds a structural memory. The result is not a cosmetic change. It is a measurable reduction in facial puffiness, improved vascular tone in the dermis, and a structural lift driven entirely by biological mechanisms that have been documented in peer-reviewed literature. This practice is not mainstream. It predates the industry built around selling you products to manage the symptoms of neglected biology. The yogic lineages that codified Kapalabhati understood, without a microscope, that the breath and the face were connected at the level of tissue physiology. They were correct. You now carry that knowledge as a practitioner, not a consumer. During phase 2, the slow nasal hold, did you feel the warmth spreading across your cheekbones? Tell me below, which side lit up first, left or right? Most men believe facial aging is written in their genetics. Drop a decoded below if you now understand it's written in your breath. Here is what this practice ultimately reveals. The face does not age, it accumulates. It accumulates stagnation, inflammation, the evidence of breath held shallow for decades. What the ancients encoded in Kapalabhati was not a beauty ritual. It was a maintenance protocol for an instrument, the body, that requires active circulation, not passive endurance. Time does not write itself on the face. Biology does. And biology, unlike time, responds to instruction. You have just given your face its first instruction in perhaps a very long time. The signal has been sent.